Are you considering making an additional source of income? Have you been indoctrinated by a shitload of get-rich gurus who have told you that passive income is the way to make money in your sleep or to make a reality? Would you like to become the next dividend demigod? Hi, this is Lungelo Kuzwayo and welcome to my YouTube channel. And the subject of today's video is dividends, dividends, dividends. In a JSE Direct podcast with Simon Brown, he beautifully said, dividends, love them, but be careful. We all know what dividends are, and it's sensible to think the higher the dividend, the better the stock. However, it's more complicated than that. In fact, during my undergraduate studies in one of our majors, finance, we learned that a financial manager's decision, and I'd argue the entirety of finance, is contingent upon just three things: investing, financing, and dividends. And this makes sense. Every successful entrepreneur will tell you it's about finding the right investment, obtaining the funds to finance it, and lastly, sharing the profits with investors. In this video, I shall rank South African listed companies that pay the highest dividends, whether high dividend paying stocks are a good investment, and conclude whether or not I believe dividends are indicative of a company's value. Now, before I progress with the remainder of the video, I'd like to first clarify what a dividend yield is, because I shall be using it to rank the companies, the JSE listed companies that are paying the most dividends.
Dividend yield is a ratio and one of several measures that helps investors understand how much return they're getting on their investment. For companies that pay a dividend, you can calculate dividend yield by dividing the expected income, the dividend, by what you invest, the price per share. Take two companies that both pay $1 per share. One stock price is at $30 and the other at $20. The first company's dividend yield is 3.3% and the other's is 5%.
Now that is covered, at the time of this recording, 17 August 2022, these are the highest JSE listed dividend paying companies.
Big fan of all your money.
Yeah. At number 10, we have Frontier Transport Holdings with a dividend yield of 11.16%. Now, this is a logistics company with its core operations rooted in the commuter bus and luxury coach segments, but it also sells spare parts and provides shuttle services. Frontier boasts significant investments in entities like Frontier Tires, Golden Arrow, no, not this one. This one, yeah, Sibanye Bus Services and Shuttle Up. It also has various other investments, and personally, I like this company because it is specialized. It is like primarily operating in the logistics industry. It has an easy to understand business model, because I often dislike investing in companies where there's just too many unrelated activities that is going on. I mean, you get phenomenal companies like Naspers, but there's just too much going on. And don't get me wrong, it is a phenomenal company with phenomenal brands, phenomenal subsidiaries. However, on one hand, they own a gaming company in China.
China.
While at the other hand, they own Takealot. At some point, they owned MultiChoice. Now they own Process. I mean, the list is endless. And like I said, it's a personal preference kind of thing. Obviously, Naspers is a phenomenal company. I just like investing in a company that specializes in a few things, because at least I know exactly where my money is going. At number 9, we have Sibanye Stillwater Limited with 11.44%. This is a gold mining company, and yes, I also thought they sell water. But turns out Sibanye Stillwater has established itself as one of the world's largest primary producers of platinum, palladium, rhodium, and is also a top-tier gold producer. I'm gonna sidetrack here and talk about gold. People often ask me how can they invest in gold, and I had severe imposter syndrome. I wouldn't answer them because, well, I failed my accounting degree twice, so I didn't want to give any investment advice because I just felt stupid, you know. But like you, the boy graduated, and I'm gonna share with you some nuggets of wisdom, so listen up. So this is something that I learned from a podcast by Warren Ingram, Honest Money. It is incredible. Please check it out. And there are 4 primary ways in which you can invest in gold. Number 1, you can invest in gold. Number 2, gold shares. Number 3, gold ETFs. And number 4, gold ETNs. Now, what is the difference between the 4? Well, you can simply buy physical gold, but you now have to incur additional costs to transport it, store it, and you still run the risk of theft. I personally do not like it. And did I mention that it is heavy? Now, fortunately for you, there are other alternatives. You can invest in gold shares. And this means buying shares in a company that mines gold, just like Sibanye Stillwater. However, I personally don't invest in this kind of companies because they are cyclical. There's just too many variables at play because you are not investing in gold, you're investing in the business operations of mining it. So you have to consider all sorts of things like the cost of mining the gold, you have to consider the labor laws, you have to consider the price of gold in the markets, never mind the share price. And usually gold mining companies don't consistently make profits. Like they could be running in a loss because of construction costs, setting up the machinery, staff, so many things that they'll have to be incurring expenses, and they might not even be selling the gold because the price is just not right at the market or whatever. And then one day they just make like huge profits because they were selling, and then they declare special dividends, like huge special dividends. So I just simply don't know enough about the operations and the engineering that is involved, so I'm not a huge fan at the moment. Moving on, you can also invest in gold ETNs. Now, this is an exchange traded note. It's simply a derivative of gold. And don't worry, it's not too complicated. All it means is that you enter into a contract with a financial institution and they promise to pay you an amount that is equal to the price of gold in the future. So basically, you don't own any gold, but if the value of gold goes up, then you can sell your ETN and get the money. If it goes down, then obviously you have made a loss. And lastly, and this is my favorite way to invest in gold, and that is through a gold ETF, an exchange traded fund. Now, what happens here is that you buy shares in the ETF, in the fund, right? And somewhere out there is actual physical gold that is stored in a safe, and you now own a portion of it along with other ETF investors. So you actually own physical gold, but you don't have to worry about the cost of transporting it, storing it safely. All the hassle has essentially been taken care of for you. Sorry for going off topic. I just found these points to be really informative for anyone who wants to invest in gold. And I'm not a big investor in gold, but I do believe every portfolio should have at least a small chunk of it. Actually, I was even reading this article not so long ago, and I learned that even the wealthiest of people in the world hold a small piece of gold in their portfolios, usually about 5%, sometimes, rarely though, up to 10% of their portfolios are gold, but it's very unlikely anything more than that. So I would say that a proper region would be somewhere around 3 to 5%, right? I hold my gold through ETFs. And the reason that one should hold gold is to hedge against any global crisis, any geopolitical uncertainties. Because usually when the world is in turmoil, then the price of gold goes up, because that's the market saying, look, I do not know what's going to happen tomorrow, but hopefully if I have some gold, then I might be able to exchange it for something of value in the future. Whereas in times of prosperity, in times of peace, when the economies are stable and there's not too much going on, i.e. a pandemic, i.e. war, then usually the price of gold goes down as more people start to take their money out of gold and invest it in other areas such as real estate, the stock market, or whatever. Coming in at number 8 is Combined Motor Holdings with 11.86%. And basically, they are primarily a franchise business, which means you can start a franchise under them, like with McDonald's or KFC, but in this case, you sell cars. In addition to their franchise model of car dealerships, they also provide financial services and car rental services. And again, this is not a complicated business model. However, there's always more than what meets the eye. So always do your research before investing in a company. And I think this is a good time to segue into making the point that this video does not constitute financial advice. Don't sue me, bro. For financial advice, then I think you should contact your financial services provider, certified financial planners, those kind of entities and financial institutions. This video is just for entertainment purposes to inspire you to start with your investment journey, perhaps give you a couple of ideas and provide some insights into some companies that you normally would not have thought about. Coming in at number 7 is Omnia Limited with 12.07%. And Omnia is a chemicals company, and I do not want to delve too deep into their business model, but Omnia specializes in agriculture, mining, and chemicals. I mean, they invest in research and development of chemicals. They manufacture and also supply chemicals such as fertilizers, petroleum additives, Sekgowa, guys, but that's what they do. That's how they make their money. Coming in at number 6 is Kumba Iron Ore Limited with 12.36%, and this company needs no introduction. They are the 4th largest iron ore producer in the world and the largest in Africa. I believe their business operations are self-explanatory. I mean, it's in the name. They mine iron, Kumba Iron Ore. So I'm going to move on to number 5, Coronation Fund Managers with 12.4%. Now, this is one of my favorite companies on this list because I also have ambitions of running my own hedge fund one day. Coronation Fund Managers is an investment entity with approximately 580 billion rand of assets under management. I'll make a separate video of what asset management companies do, but in summary, these are your investment professionals who invest pools of their clients' money into a plethora of financial instruments to generate above average returns. And number 4 is African Equity Empowerment Investments with 12.5% dividend yield. They are a subsidiary of Segunjalo Investment Holdings, which is a black-owned private equity fund specializing in mergers and acquisitions. M&A is just a bourgeoisie word to say buying and selling companies, nothing fancy. But from my research, I was able to gather that African Equity Empowerment Investments is actually a company that doesn't necessarily aim to make money. No, they actually aim to alleviate the economic discrepancy between African and white people, which was caused by the apartheid regime. Please notice how I said apartheid instead of apartheid. Levels, guys, levels. Anyways, I'm getting bougie. A noble cause, a lofty aim. This company puts people before profits. And I say that because it's not their primary aim to make money. They want to help people by making money. There's a difference. Now, AEEI has significant investments in a diverse range of divisions such as fishing, I know, weird, technology, tourism, health and beauty, and even biotherapeutics. We are now down to our top 3. And the next company is one founded by the silverback gorilla, the lawyer and business mogul Giga Chad himself, Mr. Petrus Motsepe. At number 3, African Rainbow Minerals with a staggering 13.54%. This company needs no introduction. They make their money through the mining industry, from platinum to copper, from coal to gold. You name it, they mine it. And I love this. Neatly diversified in the sense that they mine different minerals but simultaneously specialized as a mining company. In addition to their massive dividends, ARM's share price increased with 127% in just the last 5 years. Truly phenomenal. I'm a proud shareholder and I think it's a top tier entity. And remember, this is not investment advice. Number 2, Exxaro Resources Limited with a whopping 15.12%. I won't delve too deeply into this company's operations because it's similar to ARM, except I'd add it's bigger than ARM, and I noticed in my research it appears to be more geographically spread than ARM because they have operations around the world in Asia, Europe, and even Australia. Yeah, talk about size. Now, at number 1, AO Technologies. AO Tech Solutions with 15.29%. Founded in 1996, AO Technology Solutions is a technology investment company with interests in disruptive technologies that advance life, business, and economics. I have to admit, it's really ironic that a technology company tops this chart. I mean, think about it. Facebook doesn't declare dividends. Amazon has never declared dividends. As a matter of fact, it took these companies years before they even reported their first profits because, as you know, technology is rapidly progressing. So tech companies are always investing surplus reserves into research and development to keep up with their competitors. And because of this, I decided to look into Ayo's financial statements, and I wasn't really impressed. This tech company paid more dividends than it invested in property, plants, and equipment and intangible assets. Not once, but for 2 consecutive years. Now, you might argue, yay, it's good. They pay their shareholders. However, let's get deeper into the subject of this video. Dividends, love them, but be careful. But why should we be careful of dividends? I mean, it is your inherent right as a shareholder to receive a slice of the profits, is it not? I'll have to admit, I am personally not a huge fan of dividends, and I'll explain why by first clarifying the conflicting goals between young ambitious baby apes like myself and a wise old geezer. I mean, on one hand, we need companies to pay dividends because as we approach our golden years, our retirement age, our body deteriorates and will need to rest. Therefore, a passive income will be absolutely imperative for us to eat, dress, travel, and pay for our medical expenses. We can therefore deduce from this reasoning that the older you are, the more valuable dividends become. However, what if you are a young, ambitious baby ape and you'd rather the company keep the dividends and reinvest them back into itself by expanding into wider regions and taking over the world? What if you would rather it takes the dividends and buy other companies, improve the quality of its products, boost profitability so that over time the share price can increase as well? You're probably familiar with the phrase, did you know if you invested in Facebook or Google or whatever superstar company 10 years ago, you would be a millionaire by now? This is because Amazon, Facebook, all these incredible superstar companies aggressively reinvested back into themselves to grow and take over the world. Now, this is why we, young people, want to invest in companies with huge growth potential. We are looking for the next Facebook, Netflix, Google, or Amazon. The second reason I am biased in favor of companies that prioritize investments instead of dividends is because of tax. Yes, did you really think we'd enjoy a conversation about money without mentioning Uncle Sam? In South Africa, companies should pay 27% corporate tax on their profits. But here's the kicker. After the 27%, you have to pay another 20% dividends tax to SARS for any dividends paid. And this breaks my heart. Now, what if a company pays little dividends and chooses to take the money to grow itself instead? Well, what's going to happen is it's going to grow, and hopefully the share price will grow with it. And later, after the share price has grown, you can sell these shares and take your profits. In fact, when you do this, the tax implications are significantly much better, because if you are a retail investor that is a natural person like myself, the first 60% of your profits are not taxed. And in addition to that, you get a 40,000 Rand annual exclusion, which means 60% of your profits is not taxed. And then of the remaining 40%, you can subtract 40,000 Rand. And then what's remaining, that's how much will be taxed. This is called CGT, capital gains tax. So in addition to being young, it was the tax benefits of growth investing that influenced my inclination towards growth stocks. To conclude, I do believe that dividends give a share value if income is what you want. But if you're young, I suggest you forget about the dividends, because it's not like you have so much money to invest that a 15% dividend per year will make such a huge difference. Rather, tell your broker to reinvest the dividends back into the same share, and you'll be amazed at how far you'll get in 10 to 20 years, because you would have taken advantage of the key ingredient to Warren Buffett's investing success, and that is compound interest. Now, I'd just like to thank you for listening until this far. The point of this YouTube video is to try and democratize high finance concepts in easy digestible videos that can hopefully help you in your financial journey while at the same time entertain you. I'm not smart, trust me. I'm just breaking down some of the things that I've learned over the last couple of years. And I'm currently doing my postgraduate diploma in accounting for some context. And I am applying to do my master's degree in finance. So I hope that gives a bit of perspective as to who I am and why I'm doing this. I love business so much. But Before I sign off, I'd just like to say to those of us who are taking charge of our personal finances, to those of us who are baby apes but have lofty aims to become the next silverback gorillas, to the future billionaires of this nation, to us I say, greatness is coming.